It all started with Max, my stubborn golden retriever. He had this habit of getting into trouble every time I turned my back. Whether it was chewing on something he shouldn't or rolling in the mud right after a bath, Max always kept me on my toes. But when he hurt his paw a few weeks ago, I knew it was serious, and I couldn't just brush it off like usual. That's when I met Noah. Noah was the local vet with a calm and confident presence that instantly reassured both Max and me. He had dark hair, neatly cropped, and this soft, serious smile that made me feel like everything was going to be okay the moment I stepped into his clinic. I didn't think much of it at first. He was just doing his job after all, but as I watched him work with Max, something about the way he moved, the way he spoke, lingered with me. "Your dog's going to be fine," Noah said, his voice steady as he wrapped Max's paw in a bandage. "It's just a sprain. Nothing to worry about." I nodded, relieved but distracted. "Thank you, Noah." "No problem," he replied, flashing that soft smile again. "Just make sure to keep him off that paw for a few days, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call." I didn't call. At least, not right away. But over the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about him, about the way he gently handled Max, about the way he smiled, even though he seemed a little reserved. I wasn't sure if it was just my imagination, but there was something about him that made me want to see him again. And maybe this time, it wouldn't just be about my dog. Max healed up pretty quickly, and within a week he was back to his usual self, chasing squirrels and making a mess of the apartment. But I found myself thinking up reasons to take him back to the clinic just for an excuse to see Noah. It felt ridiculous, but I couldn't shake the thought. So, I did what any rational person would do. I made something up. I called the clinic, trying to sound concerned. "Hi, Noah? It's about Max. He's still limping a little. I'm not sure if it's healed properly." "Bring him in," Noah said, his voice calm as ever. "Let's take a look." The second I stepped into the clinic, my heart raced in a way it hadn't the first time. Noah greeted me with that same smile, but this time I could feel my own nerves creeping up. "How's Max doing?" he asked, kneeling to pet him. "He's fine. Mostly," I said, fidgeting a little. "But he still seems off. I just thought it'd be good to double-check." Noah nodded and led us into the examination room. As he examined Max, I watched him, taking in the way he focused, the way his hands moved with such care. I knew I was being ridiculous, but I couldn't help it. "He's all good," Noah said after a few minutes. "No issues. I think he just needs a bit more time to heal completely." I bit my lip, feeling like this was my chance. "You know, Noah, I've been meaning to ask, do you have any recommendations for places to take him on walks around here?" He looked up a little surprised. "Sure, there are a few nice parks nearby. I take my dog out sometimes when I have the time." "Maybe we could go together sometime?" I asked, the words tumbling out before I could stop them. "I mean, if you're free, of course." For a moment, Noah didn't say anything. He just looked at me, processing what I'd said. Then, slowly, that soft smile returned, and something in his eyes shifted. "I'd like that," he said, standing up and meeting my gaze. "How about this weekend?" The weekend came faster than I expected. Max and I met Noah at a nearby park, and for the first time I saw him outside the clinical setting. He was more relaxed, his dark hair tousled in the breeze, wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans instead of his usual scrubs. He had brought his dog, a border collie named Luna, and as our dogs played together, Noah and I walked side by side. "So," he said after a while, glancing over at me, "you really didn't need to bring Max in for that second checkup, did you?" I laughed, feeling my face heat up. "No, I guess not." He smiled, his eyes soft but amused. "I thought so." We walked in comfortable silence for a while after that, watching our dogs chase each other through the park. There was something easy about being with Noah. something I hadn't felt in a long time. It wasn't just that he was handsome or kind, it was the way he made me feel like I didn't have to pretend, like I didn't have to hide behind small talk or excuses. As we circled back toward the parking lot, Noah stopped and looked at me, his expression a little more serious. "I'm glad you asked me out," he said quietly. I blinked, taken aback by his directness. "You are?" "Yeah," he said, his lips curving into that soft smile again. "I've been wanting to ask you too. But I wasn't sure if it was appropriate. You know, with the whole vet-client thing." I smiled, feeling a weight lift off my chest. "I don't mind if you don't." "Not at all," he said, stepping a little closer. We stood there for a moment, the sun setting behind us, casting long shadows across the park. Max and Luna were still playing, completely unaware of what was happening between us. And as I looked into Noah's eyes, I realized I didn't want to leave this moment. I didn't want to run away like I always did. "So," I said, my voice a little shaky but hopeful, "maybe we could do this again. Without the dogs next time?" Noah smiled, his eyes softening. "I'd like that."